Zëvendës ambasadori i Francës në New York deklaroi sot se normalizimi i marrëdhënieve Kosovë-Serbi është qendrë i krijimit të stabilitetit më të gjerë evropian. Dialogu është inkurajues, por nuk mjafton. Në mënyrë që marrëveshja e lidhur të implementohet, tha diplomati francez gjatë fjalimit në Këshillin e Sigurimit të Organizatës së Kombeve të Bashkuara mbi raportin e UNMIK-ut për Kosovën. Ai ka thënë gjithashtu se është e papranueshme që përgjegjësit e sulmit terrorist në Banjsk janë ende të lirë dhe se ata duhet të dalin para drejtësisë. Kjo deklaratë e tij ka shkaktuar një përplasje me ambasadorin rus, i cili nuk ka nguruar të përgjigjet, por në anën tjetër, ka gjetur në reagimin e zëvendës ambasadorit francez në New York, i cili ka mbrojtur në këtë rast Kosovën dhe ka dashur që me të gjitha mënyrat zbardhja e sulmit të Banjskës të bëhet sa më parë dhe terroristët të vihen para drejtësisë për këtë çështje kaq të rëndësishme. Kritika ndaj perëndimit se po mbyllin syt ndaj qeverisë shqiptare pati sot Rusia përmes përfaqësuesit të saj në OKB, ambasadori rus madje pati pretendime të rreme kundër shtetit të Kosovës duke kërkuar që Prishtina të obligohet për themelim të asociacionit. Menjëherë obligueni Prishtinën për asociacionin. Në vitin 2024 ishin 93 sulme etnike ndaj serbëve. Pasi vetëvendosja erdhi në pushtet u rritën këto sulme. Albin Kurti u shpalli luftë gjithçkaje serbe. Marrëveshja e Brukselit me qëllim u harrua. Asociacioni, themelimi i saj, s'është veç dëshirë, për obligim që Prishtina e saboton me deklarata.
Madam President, it is a matter of urgency that there be normalization in the relations between Serbia and Kosovo to see a reduction in tensions. The normalization of these relations is a guarantee for regional stability. This is an essential condition for the European perspective that both countries have chosen. France welcomes the free trade agreement, Central Europe Free Trade Agreement, unfreezing due to a compromise that was found between the two countries. The facilitating role of UNMIK to open and the government of Kosovo to reopen the border crossing point of Merdare was an important decision. This makes it possible to make progress in regional integration and European integration. Supplementary effort is expected to reduce the wait times at the border. France welcomes the decisions taken at the end of last year by the Serbian authorities to begin to implement the Brussels-Ohrid Agreement, as well as the statement of Prime Minister Vučić of the 9th of October that Serbia would commit to implement all its obligations as part of the dialogue facilitated by the European Union. This progress is encouraging, but it's still not enough. It must be continued so that the agreement concluded more than a year and a half ago be fully implemented. It's essential that the two parties show their willingness to make progress in this dialogue. Madam President, France condemns the multiple unilateral actions of the Kosovo authorities in the north of the country that affect the daily life of the Serbian community. These decisions are unnecessarily stoking tensions. France would recall that the Euro-Atlantic integration of Kosovo involves progress being made in the EU-facilitated dialogue. The status of parallel Serb structures has to be solved within this framework through the association of Serb-majority municipalities on the basis of the draft European Statute. The absence of progress on this point remains an obstacle to the effective implementation of the rights of people belonging to the Serbian minority in Kosovo. It is essential to restore representative democracy in the north of Kosovo and to re-establish the active participation of Serbs in local governance for the maintenance of order and the judicial system. The end of September saw the first anniversary of the attack in Banjska, a tragic incident. It's unacceptable that those responsible for this crime are still free. They must be held accountable. The Serbian authorities know the commitments that they have undertaken and what they have to do in this regard. France will continue to follow developments in this matter. Madam President, the normalization of relations between Serbia and Kosovo cannot come about without the search for a compromise between the parties, and therefore it cannot happen without political courage to achieve it. France would call upon the Serbian Kosovar leaders to act responsibly and to honour their commitments. France will continue to support European mediation with a view to achieving a global, lasting and legally binding agreement. It is through dialogue and as part of European mediation that just and lasting solutions can be found. Let's recall that the European Union was given, in this regard, a mandate from the General Assembly. France supports UNMIC's efforts to strengthen the rule of law, respect for human rights and reconciliation between the communities in Kosovo in coordination with KFOR and ULEX Kosovo. The UNMIC's mandate is linked to the normalization of relations between Serbia and Kosovo. France is in favor of it continuing for as long as necessary. I thank you. I thank the representative of France, and I give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Madam President, we're grateful to the SRSG, Ms. Carolyn Ziade, for her briefing regarding the situation in the province and the views she gave us. We welcome the participation of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Serbia, Marko Đurić, in this meeting. We listened to the opinion of Ms. Donika Gërvalla. Once again, we're under quite an impression. We're under the impression that she has quite vast historical knowledge and her in-depth political assessments, geopolitical reflections. Inter-ethnic tensions in Kosovo are at a 15-year high. The root of this evil is unchanged. It lies in the so-called authorities in Pristina's desire to establish full control over the northern part of the province populated by Serbs, with the connivance of their Western backers. Many of the specific manifestations of this aggressive course of action were reflected in the semi-annual report of the Secretary-General regarding the UN Interim Administration Mission in Kosovo, UNMIC. Among Pristina's malicious provocations, the ban on the circulation of the Serbian dinar in the province, the forced closure of administrative bodies serving Serbs in Kosovo, expropriation of land belonging to Serbian residents, the squeezing out of non-Albanian community institutions and businesses. Fabricated pretexts are being used to continue arresting Serbs. Schools and hospitals are being raided. Homes of returning refugees are being set alight, and Orthodox churches are being desecrated. We join in the Secretary-General's call to take these threats very seriously. Despite the formal lifting of the unilateral embargo imposed in June of 2023, an embargo on goods from Serbia, at the only crossing open for entry, the Madare crossing, there are queues of trucks stretching for kilometers. In the West, as is customary, they prefer to turn a blind eye to all of this, waxing lyrical about the supposedly constructive steps being taken by Kosovo Albanians and giving them credit for solving a problem which they themselves created, ignoring their obligations under the Central European Free Trade Agreement. In 2024 alone, in Kosovo, there were 93 ethnically motivated incidents targeting Serbs. Since the ultranationalist movement, Self-Determination, came to power in February of 2021, the number of such incidents rose to 550. The so-called Prime Minister, Albin Kurti, de facto declared war on all things Serbian. The Orthodox community in the province is barely surviving, and yet he cynically asserts that he is supposedly continuing to fight today's fascism, at home and abroad. End of quote. Systematic terror targeting Kosovo Serbs is best explained by the